So everything is great with division when we know the number of groups and don't know the number in each group, or vice versa, and where everything turns out to be evenly divided. So we have equal groups of 3 or equal groups of 5, etc. Now, what happens if we can't divide a number by another number evenly? Right? So that's when we talk about remainders. So a situation where the number doesn't fit neatly into groups and there are leftovers, or there's something that we have to deal with. So it doesn't fit neatly, which means it is not neat, which means there's going to be some interpretation that's going to happen. It really depends on what you do to clean up that mess when it doesn't go in neatly. And depending on your decision, you may have a different form of response. So let's look at 2 examples. A baking problem. A batch of cookies requires 3 cups of flour. How many batches of cookies can you make if you have 14 cups of flour and all the other ingredients? So it is a 14 divided by 3 kind of problem. And each batch of cookies requires 3 cups of flour. Okay. So what's going to happen? So you would make 4 batches, right? If you made 4 batches, you would get 12. You would use 12 cups of flour, but you have 14. What are you going to do with those other 2? You're just going to leave them? You could. Are you going to make a partial batch? You could. Right? You can go get another cup of flour from your neighbor and make the 5th batch. You absolutely could. Any one of those would be fine. How about with the brownies? If you have 14 brownies, which you divide equally amongst 3 bags, how many brownies could you put in each bag? So 4 for sure. And then what do you do with the other 2? Do you eat them? Do you split them up and put them in 2 bags? Right? It really depends. Now let's see if we can come up with some interpretations. So if we were baking, what were we baking here? Cookies, right? So we made 4 batches of cookies. Okay, and we have two cups of flour left. 2 cups of flour left. And we're not going to do anything with them. This is that situation where there's a remainder. Remainder is 2. Okay, so it's going to remain, it's going to be left behind. So we're not doing anything with them. But what if we wanted to use up all of our flour? Then we could make more cookies, right? But it wouldn't be the full 5 batches. We don't have enough for 5 batches. Well, but we have 2 of the 3 cups that we need. So we could make 2 of the 3rds extra batch. So you could make 4 2/3 batches of cookies. Right? No flour left. So do you see the difference? So in the first case, you're just going to make complete batches, and whatever flour is left over, you're going to leave in your cupboard. In the second case, you want to use up all that darn flour because you have a brand new bag waiting for you in the cupboard, and you're going to just make 4 2/3 of the batches. Now, how about with brownies? You have 14 brownies, which you divide equally among 3 bags, right? So you're going to make 4 brownies for each bag. And you're going to say, oops, I have 2 brownies left over, right? 2 brownies left. And you're just not going to do anything with them. Or you might eat them, but you're not going to put them in bags. Okay. Or you might say, well, I need to put them all in bags because otherwise they'll dry up. Then you could say, I'm going to put 4 2/3 brownies. You have to cut up the brownies in each bag. Okay. So there's a different interpretation for these remainders. Well, what is different about how the whole number quotient 4 and remainder 2 are interpreted in the 2 problems? And I think we've talked about that. And now discuss how the remainder 2 and 2/3 are related to each problem. And I think we've talked about that as well. But it's a good idea for you to be able to write these out in words so that you can formulate them in a more careful way. Okay. So number 2 says, write a problem of which you, for which you would calculate 14 divided by 3 in order to solve the problem, but for which the answer is 5. Oh, interesting. So we could say the brownies, right, with the brownies. So you have 14 brownies, and bags only fit 3 brownies each. Right? 3 brownies each. Okay. How many bags do you need to keep brownies fresh? Well, with 3 brownies each, we could certainly make 4 bags, but then we're going to have 2 brownies left. And for that, we will need an extra bag if we want to keep them fresh. So that's going to be 5 bags. All right. So do you see that sometimes it's not even the remainder? Sometimes we need to round up or round down. Okay, but what we do when things aren't neat is it really depends on the problem that we have in front of us. And I'm going to leave 3 and 4 for you to work on.